Hey everyone, I'm Lio Convoy, and this month has been Sailor Moon September, an event where I've been covering one of the Figuarts Sailor Moon figures via shorts every day of the month. Since I've been doing this, I figured I'd give my thoughts on the line as a whole while you all enjoy me drawing Super Sailor Moon in the background. Let me go over my background with Sailor Moon, since I really haven't talked about it on the channel before. Flashback to the summer of 1997. And I'm watching a cartoon lineup called Cartoon Express on USA, and this show called Sailor Moon shows up. In a stroke of luck, it was the very first episode. I was immediately hooked. I was no stranger to superhero stuff, and Sailor Moon slotted right into that. The animation, storytelling, and aesthetics of the show is something I hadn't seen before. Granted, I'd seen things like She-Ra before, but this was different. So, for almost every weekday of that summer, I'd sneak down to watch this show. Why did I have to sneak? Well, my old man once told me, and I quote, "If I ever find out you're gay, I'll kill you and then myself. I'll send us both to hell." I knew enough about this show to know it would slot in as a girl's show to the old man. What I'm saying is that the show was good enough to risk my life over. No regrets. I didn't start showing my love of this show until I got older. The first merchandise I bought was the movie 3-pack in the early 2000s. You know the one. Anyways, I'm not just an animation buff, but I'm also an action figure collector. So when Figuarts announced in 2014 that they were doing a Sailor Moon line, I was all over it. To date, I now have every figure from this now decade-old line. So, I have some thoughts. Firstly, let's talk about the articulation. While I understand that single-jointed elbows and knees made sense at the time, they don't work too well in the modern age. With action figure photography growing, the game needs to be upped here. Take the Figuarts Shippuden Sakura, for example. Her articulation allows for extremely dynamic poses. While the current figures look okay in their iconic poses, getting them there is a bit of a chore, especially with that bicep swivel. Makes me super nervous. Another point of contention is the hair, especially in characters like Pluto. It's essentially a shell, so it's very difficult to get in a suitable position for much of anything. Drop down hips and maybe some cloth goods for the skirts would go a long way too. The biggest issue I have with the current molds, though, are their feet. If you look at some of the shorts I've done, you'll see I had to use blue tack to get them to stand. This is because the feet are molded too small and the shoes are not balanced. This is why they include a stand for all the figures. You'd think engineering better feet would be the better idea, but I guess not. Secondly, I'd like to get into the overuse of these molds. Now, I'm no stranger to repaints and exclusives. The amount of G1 Transformers and original He-Man figures I own would speak on that. But this has gotten to the point of ridiculousness. Quick question, how many times did they reuse the first Sailor Moon figure? The answer is 6. The first release, the 2014 Animation Color exclusive, the Imposter Sailor Moon, Super Sailor Moon, the newer animated Color Sailor Moon, and the Tamashii Store Edition that's the newest one. For a decade-old mold, that's a bit ridiculous. I'm sure some people will bring up the fact that the Dragon Ball line does this as well, but I feel that's more appropriate with that line due to the sheer amount of crap Goku has under his belt. On the topic though, I think the new animation color ones are a bit of a miss. Not just because they're not actually accurate, but also because it's just asking more for less at this point. But that's just me. Thirdly, there's just the age of the molds themselves. They can become brittle and fragile at this point due to some of the choices for the plastic. For example, the black lady I got for today's shorts, got her fresh out of the package, and her neck snapped because the faceplates are just ridiculously tight. This is due to the plastic used for her head. Same with one of her hair pieces, which also broke. Thankfully, I know how to fix stuff like this, so it's not the biggest issue in the world, but considering how difficult finding a replacement would be, I feel this complaint is warranted. Fourthly and finally is the selection currently. We have the original Guardians in both original release and animation colors, the super figures, a single crystal figure, and a single eternal figure. Not only have they not continued the crystal line, but they haven't continued the eternal line either. But even putting that aside, we've only gotten 2 villains in the entire line. Imposter Sailor Moon and Black Lady. No Beryl, or her generals, nothing. At all. And that's just leaving money on the table, because you could absolutely flesh this line out. You can make figures based on their school uniforms with their transformation devices, you could do some of the plain clothes designs, or even get some clear transformation figures. And that's just with the core team in the first season. You could do new versions of them for the later seasons as well. You also have literally any other villains to work with. This line could be massive if the work is actually put into it. So what do I think should happen at this point? Well, I think Figuarts should start from the ground up. Put out new figures with updated articulation. Expand the line out. People will buy it. Look at how well the plastic statues sell. There's absolutely a market for updated Sailor Moon figures. I know I'd buy them. I think I've rambled enough about this for today. More importantly, what do you guys think? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Special thanks as always to my patrons and channel members. If you want to support me, the link is in the description. You're also welcome to join the community Discord. That's it for now. Take care.